Welcome to Emuna is our future. Yes, we're with an opportunity to have a good eye. How we look at this, how we look at each other, how we view what we're doing, how we view the whole world, how our mindset, how our heart processes things, and how we act with our realities. We've been talking a lot about this thought, speech, and action. Unity Inspires Projects. This is my brand. And Emuna is our future, together with Rav Shalom Arush Shlita. This is his beautiful studio, which, thank God, we've already had 2 wonderful classes, QA in English with the Rav. I'm very excited. It's amazing. I'm just going to get my sanitizer. Very important to keep reminding ourselves about all the important rules of what's needed. And we're going to go into a class today that is very, very much needed for our generation. Yes, is basically looking good. Looking good at people, looking good at yourself even. You know, there's many famous sayings about having an ayin tovah, a good eye, which is what it means in Hebrew, and to look good, to have a good kick, as they say in Yiddish, a good blick, how you look at things, your outlook, your hashkafa, the mindset, as Gary Vaynerchuk, a famous Jewish successful entrepreneur, says that mindset is everything. It's everything. So your mind, how you process stuff, how you work through stuff, is so connected to your success, the way you process your relationships, your work, your everything, your learning, your spirituality. It affects every aspect. As we said, it's the mind, the heart, and how you process things. You know, I was just working through the halachas, the laws of tefillin with my son, and because he's going to be bar mitzvah, please God, just before Hanukkah. It'll be my 3rd son bar mitzvah, please God. Everything should be well. Should have a world, please God, that's functioning, that, you know, people are able to come to simchot, to come to positive celebrations like bar mitzvahs, and he'll have his tefillin. And we were learning together about how you have to put the tefillin shorosh on this is the head part of the tefillin, on the head, and you should put it on your arm, facing your heart, and you should wrap it around your hands. So these are also connected to the idea of your thoughts, your heart level, how you speak, how you express yourself, with the straps as well, and then all the way down to the finger, to your actions. You make v'sichli, you make a yichud or unification with godliness, become married, become one. And that is the power of just every day putting tefillin on, which, please God, I'll be able to get him a nice pair, and that will be part of bringing another, please God, Jewish boy, a man, to manhood in the right way, with the right understanding that their mind, their thoughts and their heart level, how they think and feel about things and speak and how they act in the world, should have a connection to godliness. It shouldn't just be a separate experience. That people are very concerned right now. So people are not feeling that connection, unfortunately. The more, as time goes on with this whole corona thing, it's been a little bit of a challenge, and you know, we have to work on it together, Baruch Hashem. You know, just make sure that all the live feeds are up, thank God. You know, keeping positive about the process in life, that it's a journey for all of us to be able to keep this uplifted mindset, that no matter what's going down, just before Mashiach comes, there's going to be a little bit more challenge. It's going to get a little bit more labedic, like a bit more of a dynamic process for all of us. So we have the opportunity, all of us, to join together and to not give up, to not mi'ayish. You know, right now, the Wi-Fi went down on the YouTube, but the good news is we have, Baruch Hashem, we have a nice edited version that's going to come out. We have our audio here with the Breslev Israel podcast. We have the Facebook, which thank God is working very smoothly. And we have even Instagram Live on one of my channels. And please God, we'll have, as time goes on, a more professional setup like we have by the Rav, with all the cameras. You know, we'll be patient with that coming together. But it's a whole process to get to where we need to go to get the information of Emuna is our future, to understand in a foundational way that our mindset and how we think about ourselves is very much connected to where we put our eyes. And it affects our heart level, as it says, Lo sasu achrei levavchem v'achrei einechem, that wherever we look with our eyes, that we shouldn't go after them. We shouldn't just let our eyes wander around. We should have some self-control. As Stephen Covey very famously said in his 7 Habits book, something which people in the business world, thank God, have read, and hopefully will have a good influence till now, even though it was a while ago. But he said that self-restraint is the key to happiness. And there's still a live feed from him. He's not here physically, but we see that people have left legacy. And there's no bigger legacy than in the last week we just commemorated Lubavitcher Rebbe's legacy. It's a big, big legacy for us to try and go in his way. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, Ben Levi Yitzchak Zechus, his Yotzeit was just this past Erev Shabbos, and we had the opportunity to really tune in to what it means to be involved with someone who was so dynamic at getting everybody motivated and channeled, empowering people to become leaders, and not just himself to be a leader, but to be able to constantly turn people into leaders, like we saw by Rabbi Sachs, the chief rabbi, the former chief rabbi of England, how his journey to become a chief rabbi and all the amazing things he's accomplishing and still, please God, will continue to accomplish. It was all in the merit of the Lubavitcher Rebbe giving him that understanding that he can be a mashpia, that he can be a leader, can someone influence. So it says with the right eye, the Lubavitcher Rebbe had that good eye. He saw within him potential to do more than he saw within himself. And this is the same with everything we're going to talk about today's class, about the power of all of us, how you guys are viewing me now. You can have your judgments, your opinions, but in the end, it's all irrelevant, because in the end, you can't have a true effect on a soul, on a neshama, even though people are worried about Hashem should save us from that. But the main thing is that if we're in a certain mindset of soul, of oneness, of unification, of Emuna, if we're in that world of self-belief, someone asked, what is Emuna? They were asking on the last video, but please God, we're going to have the Q&A here with Rav Arush, and we've got a special guest, very excited, Shlomo Katz. I don't know, you guys didn't reach out as much as I'd hoped in terms of, you did with questions, Baruch Hashem, and you did, but you didn't throw me a whole list of guests you'd like to have. So thankfully I reached out myself, because that night Shlomo Katz sent me a video of his latest song, and I was very excited to see it on my WhatsApp feed, because I suddenly thought, why not invite him? And please God, a week later from last class, which was amazing because we went through such important things, we were able to organize and bring him, please God, here tomorrow night, 11 o'clock. You guys should tune in. And it's really important that we have these opportunities. Why? Because he's another person, another example in our generation, a very positive eye, very positive outlook. His music, his energy, his soul. This is the kind of mindset that we are working at in our Emuna team and our Breslev Israel sites to try to generate a lot of positivity. And even personally, I've seen, unfortunately, the last week or two, a lot of, we've seen in the world generally, but also even personally, there's a lot of isnagdus, a lot of resistance to doing something positive, not from anyone that I have to really be so concerned about, but just in the aspect of people not judging positively and giving us opportunity to all grow in our own way and see the hand of Hashem in how people, Baruch Hashem, everyone should have what they need. So obviously there's maybe a little bit of jealousy, maybe, I don't know, maybe we all have it inside of us a little bit. If we would understand really the right mindset is to have that we want everyone to be matzliach, we want everyone to be successful, everyone around you to have success, to have joy, to have shalom bayis, to have peace and harmony in the home, to have beautiful children and families, and have a good sphere of influence, to use the internet with success, to be able to have people posting positive feedback. One of the things I've done in this week's question and answer for Rav Arush is not only did I put the questions, but every so on I put a little bit of feedback, because thank God it's positive. You guys are saying nice things, and that means a lot to us. It gives us a lot of encouragement, and it helps us go ahead to continue sharing these Emuna classes with you in a Baruch Hashem, in our beautiful studio in Yerushalayim, Kodesh, in the holy Jerusalem. What an amazing thing that we have the idea of living in Jerusalem. I once had the merit to hear a beautiful idea, why the place Tiberias, it's not so far up north, it's the place of the Kinneret, it's a beautiful place to go to Tovel. Personally, I haven't actually been to mikveh for a few months. I feel embarrassed to get to give a class on Torah without having the opportunity to be in a mikveh. There is such a halacha, you can use the shower and Chavein, Tisha Kabim, and that's hopefully has the purifying effect. But just to talk about Tiberia, hopefully will have a purifying effect. Talk about Tzaddikim, to learn ideas of Emuna, to have Avos Yisrael, to love other Jews, This is a big tikkun of this 3 weeks coming up, because the 3 weeks is a time where, God forbid, there was a lot of sinas chinam, there was a lot of hatred that caused the korban, that caused the avodah zarah, with the lack of communication to each other, that caused the fact that there was an egel azav, that caused the downfall during these 3 weeks, when we have a time of mourning, a time of pain, God forbid. And that whole idea of this pain, and God forbid, with the second wave of coronavirus, the corona challenge is still continuing. This is coming our way. How do we go into these next 3 weeks with Parshas Balak, with the right mindset? You know, Balak they said he only had one eye, yeah? And it says by Yosef Esadik, he was above the eye, this one eye, this evil eye. So it says in the Pirkei Avos, he has an eye in Ra, he had a bad eye. But Avram Avinu, and we're all descendants, and our light, the Orsha Avram, the light of Emuna, that's all about Avram Avinu's light. He was a mamin, he was a person who ohev Hashem, he loved Hashem, and he shared Emuna with the world. That was the voter of Avram Avinu. So that's the ayin tovah, that's the good eye. That's the way we should look at people, as it says in Pirkei Avos. Another thing it says by Pirkei Avos, ayin tovah, to look good at people is one of the 5 aspects of 5 Talmidim of Yochanan ben Zakkai. We have different students, different ideas of how to have a good heart, to have a good neighbor, all different ways to how to act and be. And the most important one is the leiv tov, is to have a good heart. Once again, we say that the way you look and the way you feel about things are very connected. The way you look at things, what you're looking for. So now with the internet, Hashem Shemreinu, Hashem should protect us and purify us. We're in a war, we're in a challenge. Every time we go online, if we don't have the full filtered or whatever the situation, we haven't filtered our hearts yet, then we're going to have that challenge. There's going to be pop-ups, going to be this, going to be that. And we're going to have to control our eyes, and that includes everybody, not just men. It's a universal challenge for everyone, because the way you look at things affects your mindset, affects your feelings. So if you're looking all the time at all these people looking so rich or so fantastic and looking so stunning, you know, and then they makes you feel a little bit, less. And then you feel like, oh my God, like everyone in the world seems to be having an amazing time. Even during Corona, they've got so much, and I don't. And then a person feels bad about himself. Instead of, like we spoke about last week, feeling good, focusing on the good. Zayin Shoveli, turning it around, this is good. Using this time, this Tammuz and Av, these 2 difficult months, to turn around with the right mindset. One of the things we spoke about last week was the idea of the Shem Havaya. And thank God there's a very special rabbi, Rav Biederman. We mentioned him a few times with Eli Melech Biederman. Yes, he's a good guy, very holy rabbi. I mean, we should say a holy rabbi in our generation, putting out beautiful Torah. And he says this beautiful idea of the connection of what I spoke about last week for those who followed, and we recommend you always go back and go over the classes, because there's a lot going on within the 20 minutes or so. We have Zeh Neshoveli. What was this pasuk? That this is not worth anything to me. That's the pasuk of Tammuz. The last 4 letters are the name of God's name. We're just going over the ideas, and those 4 letters are backwards. So he said a beautiful idea. Take the yud, that's the back last part of li, ze'ina shoveli, the hey and the vav and the hey and the yud, and that yud at the end, take that yud that's gone all the way down to the backward part and bringing down judgment into the world, take it and bring it back and put it back up on top. Move the yud back, and you've got yud k vav k. What's all this about? It's just the mindset, the way you look at things. That the yid should be on top. The yid should have the yud. The yud is connected to the yid. That idea, the mindset should be in a positive place, and that will turn all the judgments into rachamim, into kindness, into chesed. And that's something which everyone can do just by constantly allowing yourself to regenerate the positive mindset. And that's with Hashem's help. Hashem himself wants us to be. He wants us to have a good mindset. If duetz Hashem b'simcha, he wants us to serve Hashem b'simcha. As we said in the capital, in the Psalm 100, we know that that's the Kuf, the Psalm Kuf, the 100 Tehillim. They have the idea of this, if duetz Hashem b'simcha. The Rav Arush is talking about it. The Rebbe, my Rebbe in Yerushalayim is talking about all the good tzaddikim, the good righteous people, talking about this idea of serving Hashem with joy, even during such a time. That is the key. We have to keep positive, and the way we look at things, our mindset, our good eye, will make a big difference. Like we said before with the Bavachura, we can empower people around us. I remember hearing from other tzaddikim, Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, the Rav Shiva in America, all around different vorts. We said the Ton the Rebbe with Tiberius. What's Tiberius got to do with a good eye? It's the same idea as Tuv Riyah, says the Ton the Rebbe, based on the Tosfos in Megillah. It's beautiful. In the Talmud, we have to learn the Talmud. In the Talmud, it says a beautiful idea that Tiberius is the same letters as Torah tov riyah, having a good eye. And that's why the people there, it says in the Gemara, they weren't empty. Why? Because by looking good on people, you have the power to empower them, to give them the strength to go ahead in their life, to have the power to do what they need to do with all their struggles and all their pain, and to have the inner strength, as we spoke about a few weeks back, to have the inner strength to overcome whatever's stopping you, to have that win-win mindset, to have that strength and that energy. And that is very important, that when you're around righteous people, that's one of the things. By just tuning in, please God, we'll try to do a Zoom chat at some point. It would be nice if Rav Arush can start to, speak to some of the people out there. We'll maybe do some Zoom chat interviews, maybe Zoom chat meetings, where just like when we come to Chazaz, he, the Rav himself, can sit with you guys and talk, and you can see, and just by having the way he looks at you, Rav Arush, he's able to see the good. This is the idea of a tzaddik, a righteous person. He's constantly focusing on the Nekudas Tovos, on the positive, and strengthening that aspect by the way he looks at you, the way he speaks to you, and obviously the way he feels about you. He sees your potential, and he empowers you to live your potential. I mean, think about it for our generation, with education, with Hinuch. We're bringing up children. I know myself, and I've caught myself many times. Sometimes we're not feeling so great about our children. Unfortunately, they're playing up a little bit. Just relax a moment, a little bit of mindfulness of it. Just it's getting a little bit testing, it's a little bit challenging sometimes with the children. So what's the right way of the right mindset, the right approach? The right approach would be to see the good in them, to really pray for the good, to empower them, to constantly go together with them and give that loving feeling that they're beloved no matter what, and that they have the power within to do their shlichus, to do their agency of good. And all of us have that ability. Every single person, has the power to draw out the good in the people around them, where you work, or online, to say comment nicely, to give feedback, encouragement. You can give these loves and these hearts and all these caring and all these other things that social media hopefully gives us in a good way. We have to draw out the good of social media also. So that's another important thing, that we have to remember that we're on a tight schedule. Only personally get to speak once a week, 20 minutes or so, and I'm happy with that. I do have my podcast, I'm sure I've invited you many times, Unity Flow podcast, which right now we've been posting Rav Arush's beautiful question and answer. I feel like he's covering a lot of ground, and we need to go over it again, as long with our Breslev Israel. Emuna is our future podcast, and then we have the other podcast, thank God, which is a relationship flow. And I feel like there's a lot of jewels there of relationship, because to be able to have that shalom bias, that peace and harmony, we have to see the good. We have to focus in the good. Last week we spoke about not feeling waste, not feeling like useless, God forbid, like having the ability to see the truth of who we are, that we have a soul and we're worth something, seeing our value, our true value, our self-esteem, our self-worth. And this week we're talking about now that once we're doing that, then hopefully we'll start to look at other people with that kind of mindset. And it can get challenging. Like I said, with the kids, I think they have the best testing abilities, because we were all kids once, and maybe we weren't as crazy as the previous generation. Our previous generation wasn't as crazy as this generation, and maybe they were. I don't know. In some ways I was pretty crazy as a kid. I didn't grow up religious, or so bound by halacha or Torah, so I didn't really know about those things. So there was other things going down. Like people, and I've been joining some of these Zoom chat meetings to get to know some different people around and around. And one of the questions is, say something about people that they don't know about you. So I'm not going to say it in this, you have to come join me on one of those Zoom chat things. But basically, there's always some personal things that we've been involved with, like we're not proud of, but it's a secret that, I see my journey. I'm proud of the journey that I've come from such a place to where I'm at like now. And just, like we've been speaking about with, say, Nissan Black or other people that have come here, their journey is very inspirational. So in my own way, I wasn't, like in that, like situation as much, but in my own way I had a journey towards this spiritual uplifted mindset that I'm working on, and that good mindset, that positive heart, and that wish. This is the important part. Success on others. This is Parshas Balak. That even Balak, he hated us. He wanted to destroy us. And what happened? Hashem turned all his klalas into brochas. My son, he was born this week, 16 years ago. Baruch Yitzhak, we called him. Baruch Hu. He was the idea of turning the challenges of our generation into the Esav, into a Yaakov, into a brocha, into Baruch, into a blessing. That the Yitzhak's blessing should come out for brocha. And the klalas, the curses that what's his name, that Balak and Bilam wanted to give to us. Yeah, Bilam with the one eye. They wanted to give to us, turn it around to bracha. And that's obviously that comes out during this time, just before the 3 weeks, to remind us. Even the people in the rest of the world are going to be reading Balak soon, please God. And we'll all be joining together with this idea of turning the curse into a blessing. That is the key for our generation. Turning the coronavirus into a blessing. Turning all the economic challenges into a blessing. Even our speech, turn it into a blessing. To all our hearts, turn it into good, into positive, into chizuk, into encouragement. And that's something which all of us can do by just switching a little bit our mindset. Like we said, taking that yud that seems to be all the way down there, that godly spark, and bringing it back up to the truth that we have a soul. It was never really gone. It was always there and present in everything we're going through. We have a godly spark within, a godly soul, and that was the power of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He looked at everyone with that. Rav Arush himself came through Lubavitch at the initial stages. There was also the Sefer of Hispodidus and the Sefer Ponim Yofis he was working, but there are those two aspects of talking to Hashem. He was already busy with that, just like Nissim Black spoke about, but he was also the Lubavitch. There was we'd love to have him come here. There's another guest that's a good idea, but he had one of the famous mashpiyim now, Rav Yitzhak, what's his name? Please remind me. God, send me the name. Forgotten it for a second. But he had a very special person who, Galenai, he's the owner of Galenai. He's someone who's brought a lot of inspiration. You guys can remind me at the bottom somewhere, or maybe I'll post it after the class. But we'd love to have him come. He was a teacher of Rav Arush at the beginning stage from Chabad, and the idea of giving that inspiration to people out there, that they should feel that they have the ability to turn this klala, where we have to wear these masks and have this thing and be worried, schools are closed and all the problems and people are going, and my parents in London are Ginsburg. Thank you, Yitzhak Ginsburg. Amazing. Someone is listening. Thank you so much. You made my day. So Yitzhak Ginsburg, he's one of the Rabbonim who's inspiring and changing. And my parents, in the other way, they're sitting in London and they're way over 60, 70, and it's hard. They're stuck, and they can go a little bit to the park and see maybe a few kids. But people are like, we're making it simple. We'd love the grandparents to be here. I'll give you a story, quick story. Yeah, let's get a story out before we finish today's class of encouragement, and it's connected totally into Baruch Hashem to the Rav Arush's Q&A. Maybe we'll mention it again there as well in English. But someone left a voice message on my phone. Their names will remain anonymous, but the main point was there was a kala and she was very, very worried. A bride about to get married. How is she going to get married during the corona with the family and everything, and wedding hall, and the wedding hall she wanted, it wasn't available because of all the balagan, all the craziness that's going on right now. She was very, very upset. She was crying, but then she heard Rav Arush's teachings about saying Todah, thank you Hashem, and there's also, thank God, there's lots of our friends called Thank You Hashem, there's organizations. This idea of being a law of gratitude and the power to bring miracles through that. She was thanking Hashem and accepting it. The idea that Gedalia Fentz talks about letting go and just that ability to just go with the flow. And that was that power that generated a miracle. What was that? One, the wedding was booked when? In a hall that she realized is even better than the one she originally wanted and was upset about. And not only that, she then realized the day of her wedding is the day that finally they'd undone the restrictions and she could have a wedding without worrying about it being illegal or any issues with the police or the administration. And she was able to make simcha on that day wherever she is, because I'm going to keep the facts anonymous. And it was a big simcha. She sent us a message through people who connect to Rav Arush. I'm very excited. And this is the thousands and thousands of stories. Just by saying thank you Hashem, having that good eye to the situation, you're thinking, wow, it looks so dark, so difficult. Now I'm going to have a good eye. I'm going to say thank you Hashem. There's good here. There's good. I'm an ayin tovah. There's good in the people around me. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to look at the right things, not the, God forbid, one of the things we need to mention before we end is the idea of Shmir Sanayim. We have to use our eyes. I was listening to Rabbi Alon Anava. He's got some challenge going on, 40-day thing, and it's very important there. You hear about the Shmir Sanayim for our generation to work on our holiness and how God our eyes, to not just be wherever and not to have our energy channeled to things that's not for us to be channeling it, only towards the right place and the right time or the right person, and realizing that energy is godly, is souls, is power. And it's, if a person contains it within and does everything, like we said from Stephen Covey, self-constraint brings that inner joy by controlling yourself. That in itself is a tremendous success in our generation and should give us a lot of encouragement. So that not only do we have a controlled eye, but we have a positive eye. Just like with a speech, we should control how we speak. We should say positive things to people, and we should act positively. We should do more kindness and less judgment. We want to get angry, God forbid. We should take that anger and use it for positive, so that all the negativity turns around to positivity. All the challenges we're going through right now, there is underneath a deeper essence of good in everything going on. Within every person, there's a godly spark, otherwise they wouldn't exist. That's the truth of Ein Od Mevado. There's nothing else but Hashem, that oneness, that unity, the unification we've spoken about. There's nothing else but Hashem. So if we understand that the next 3 weeks, these next 22 days that we're going to go on this journey, really this idea of 22 connected 21, or there's a 10th, there's an extra day because of the 10th of Av, but basically 21 days officially, the 3 weeks. So then we have the idea of 42 as journeys. We'll talk about it, please God. And we did last year when we gave an Emuna class around this time. Thank God we have last year's classes for this time period. You can go back all the way. I think it was Emuna Future with our journeys. You can go back. All these classes, please God, we're putting up. We've got the Wish series from Rav Elgrod. We've got Daily Halakhic Corner. We still need to reach out again to Rav Yonatan Galeh to get back some English classes from him. Please God, we'll start putting out some more Gedalia Fenster. We're going to keep things moving. We're going to have Shlomo Katz here tomorrow night with the guitar, with the positive energy, and with that unity between other groups, other people out there. We want other people to come here. Like we said, Yitzhak Ginsburg, Chabad. We want everybody to be involved in Emuna as our future. It's ultimately all with Emuna that we're all together on this journey. Everyone in the world, the whole universe is together on this journey through this world, and we need everybody. So if anyone has any ideas about this, how to build this and expand it, to share it, to develop, send it to me. We have my email always below. Send me your questions for tomorrow night and for our weekly class, please God, and keep joining us here. Strengthen our energy together, that we should feel good about what we're doing together in these classes, and we should speak good about the classes, and we should share the classes, be active in getting the internet to a good place, so that all the whatever called the viral content, or the stuff that's doing very, like streaming very strong, should be spiritual, should be uplifting. Thank God there is. I personally set up my internet that it should be filled with chizuk, all the podcasts filled with inspiration, filled with positive words in my mind, so that I'm constantly with a good mindset. I'm hearing from good people. Like Gary Vaynerchuk said, we started off with, mindset is everything. So think good, the way we look at things, and please God will be zocher. With all these different ideas that we talked about today, to please God to see the 3 weeks turn around to days of joy, and we should dance with Mashiach Sekenu and all the Jewish people in the world with Mashiach Sekenu, and the completion of this world should be, the next 3 weeks should be turned into only good times, and I'm looking forward to see us all together in Yerushalayim, Ir Kodesh, B'Mehei V'Yameinu. Amen. Thank you for tuning in. Please share on.